What if I told you that one of the main reasons we are moving to France before retirement is healthcare? After years of having to pay off medical debt, even with good insurance, we decided we're tired of it breaking us. We realized something had to change. We also realized that healthcare shouldn't be something you lose if you lose your job. A few years ago, I got really sick for like a year and then had to have a surgical procedure to fix it. Still paying it. Let me tell you my story. In late 2018, I got really sick and I went to urgent care and was told, oh, well, we don't hear anything in your lungs or anything, so all this coughing and your side hurting must just be because you were coughing so much and you're getting over some kind of bronchial infection. So they sent me home. And about a week later, we had friends over and I just was feeling really sick. My side hurt, my chest hurt, I was still coughing. And so I went to lay down in bed and let them finish a board game we were playing without me. And later, at around dinner time, they had gone and my husband came in and he looked at me and he said, "My God, your lips are blue." And so back we went to urgent care, where I told the guy, they sent me away last time. Please, please, don't just send me away and say you can't hear anything. I want a chest x-ray and I want it today. And so he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't think we're going to mess with it." And so I got a chest x-ray and found out that I had pneumonia in both lungs and an abscess on my right lung. My doctor, the next day, I went to see her. She gave me a second weapons grade antibiotic shot. The urgent care had done one the night before and said, "I don't think you realize how sick you are." Didn't leave me a lot of confidence there, but I was on antibiotics for a couple months after that, and she told me the only reason she didn't admit me to a hospital right then was that a secondary infection I could pick up in the hospital could kill me. So I took my round of antibiotics. I went and had another chest x-ray a couple months later, and the abscess was gone. And then lo and behold, in early 2019, just a couple months after my antibiotics ended, I got pneumonia again. And I went into my urgent care and they said, "We can't hear anything." And I said, "I don't care. I want a chest x-ray." And I had pneumonia again. And that was when my doctor and I put two and two together and figured out I was getting aspiration pneumonia, not viral pneumonia. I was aspirating stomach acid into my lungs at night, waking up coughing and choking in the night because my GERD was so bad that I was literally infecting my lungs by aspirating acid into my lungs. So, sorry for the reflection on my glasses. My windows are open and the backyard looks so beautiful. I hate to shut the curtains. Okay, maybe I'll look over my glasses at you. That was when she referred me to a surgical practice within her group, within the group that I saw her through. And I'm not going to say who that group is, by the way. She sent me to this surgical group and they actually started making me, instead of saying, "Oh, we need to do something right away, we need to do something to get that GERD under control before you get sick again," because it was trying to kill me. And instead of doing that, they decided to take the money-making way and have me do a whole ton of unnecessary tests. I understand wanting to do an endoscope procedure to see what's going on in there. That was fine. But then they had me scheduled for test after test after test after test when they knew already what the problem was. And go through that whole year of all of these stupid, expensive, ridiculous tests, only for them to put me off for so long that I got pneumonia a third time in the middle of summer from aspirating acid into my lungs because they were stringing me along so they could charge me more and more and more and run all of these tests that were unnecessary. And so I fired them and I told my primary care doctor that she needed to refer me to another surgeon that I had found talking with other people through the grapevine. And he saw me within a week. Within 2 weeks of seeing me and looking at my endoscope procedure, that's all he needed. Within 2 weeks of seeing me, I was scheduled for surgery 2 weeks later. And that fixed the thing. Fixed it. The hiatal hernia I had was repaired. the GERD went away, all the things. I found myself at the end of that feeling grateful that pneumonia didn't kill me, GERD didn't kill me, but also feeling really let down by the medical system and in a buttload of debt. I had good insurance, mind you. I had good insurance through my husband's insurance, and we were paying over $800 a month for it. We still are, for us to have decent insurance. But even with good insurance, I was still under about $10,000 worth of debt that I was having to pay off monthly. I still have about a little less than $4,000 of debt medically, just for having follow-up visits and I had another minor surgery in 2021 for something else and all of that stuff. So I still have all of this debt, even though I had insurance. And then my husband got sick too in 2022 or 2023, I can't remember, but he had about 2 months of trials and surgery and badness and stuff. And now he is paying started with around $10,000 worth of medical debt. Both of us, good insurance. What good insurance? Both of us have this medical debt that we're saddled with until we pay it off because of the US and medical system. I mean, let's face it, come on. The US sets you up for going into deep debt. And we've been taught all our lives that medical surgeries and medical knowledge and science in the United States is just second to none. It's the best in the world. Well, sure, if you want to mortgage your house and go bankrupt to get it. We started looking and started searching around and found out that other countries don't live this way. Even some countries that we would consider third world countries, some still have good medical care. That is what made us decide that we were going to, my face feels way too big on the screen. The camera feels way too close. Anyway, we decided that we were going to look around. Like I said, we've been sold a bill of goods that tells us US medical care is the best in the world. The reality is it's tied to our jobs. It is controlled by insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, and it's built on profit, not on people. The fear of losing health insurance traps people into hostile work environments and jobs that they can't get away from for fear of losing their health care. They're also trapped in locations in the United States where they can't get medical care. Not close, anyway. Medical deserts are real, and they're growing thanks to our current administration. Hospitals are closing all over the United States. Small hospitals, rural urgent cares, and medical practices are closing all over this country. And so the problem is only getting worse. So with insurance, copays, all of the extra hidden payments that keep popping up in the mail after your last doctor's appointment, all of these things put together are breaking us. They're breaking us as a nation. It never ends. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but this video is about what's driving us out of the US is our need for good healthcare that doesn't break us, that doesn't make us have to mortgage our house. I had to change my light source. There was a light flickering. We looked at many, many different countries. We looked at countries in South America. We looked at countries in Asia. And we always knew, though, that our hearts were kind of in Europe somewhere, that we had always dreamed of maybe living somewhere in Europe. We looked at Italy, we looked at Germany, the Netherlands, several different places, and all of them had good healthcare policies. However, it felt like Italy had some similar problems to what we're experiencing here in the US, and plus their immigration was just not great. And the Netherlands would still be pretty expensive to live. And so we were very surprised to find that France fit us better than anything, and we never thought that we'd be able to afford a place like France, for goodness sake. We never thought we'd be able to afford something like that. So we started to look. We started to look at France's systems, their cost of living, and their health insurance system, and their medical system. And we found out that not only does France have superior medical hospitals and medical care facilities, they also offer a lower cost of insurance. Yes, you have to pay. It's not free health care for everybody who lives there, but it's far lower. So we started looking to see how much would a regular doctor's visit be in France, because my last regular doctor's visit, which was a 20-minute discussion with my doctor and maybe I think she did a breast exam, not a mammogram, mind you, just a by hand breast exam, that bill came back and was over $500. My insurance paid quite a bit of it, but I still ended up owing about $180 for a general doctor visit. And so I found out the average cost of a general doctor visit in the EU is about 30 euro. That's without insurance, 30 euro. And then we found out that to pay for it, you have to, when you write a visa for France, you have to fill out a form that proves that you have international health insurance, that you have health insurance through an international company, which we'll be getting. We found out that even international insurance, which you're supposed to have for a year, even insurance for two of us, for international insurance in France, to live in France, is about €1,000 for a year of coverage. That's both of us. That's my husband and myself together. So about $500 each per year for international coverage, insurance coverage. And then once you've resided in France for a certain amount of time, you can apply for what's called, I think it's 3 months, you can apply for what's called a carte vitale. Their socialized social services health insurance. It pays 70% of medical costs, and then you're responsible for the other. This is everything from surgery to prescriptions. If you add the mutuelle, the insurance that's on top of that, you pay about €30 per person per month and get 100% coverage of everything. Now, a lot of people are like, that's free healthcare. You're getting free healthcare. 70% of your healthcare is free. No, you will be taxed for it. Tax rates are higher there because you get healthcare and free education and free all the things. So I'm willing. My taxes now, I still pay about 30% of my self-employment in taxes. Don't think that we get away with murder over here in the US. What do we see come back from those taxes? What do we see? We see our president building a new ballroom for the White House, making any kind of plan he can to distract us from the Epstein files. Okay, I'm not going to go there right now. We have a government that is more concerned with lining its own pockets and the pockets of its billionaire friends to care about us and why we're paying into a tax system that does not pay us back in any, doesn't reward us in any way. Care in France is high quality, it's very good, it's inexpensive, and it's accessible. Now, yes, we have heard some stories from people who live in smaller cities that have a hard time finding a primary care physician because a lot of them are full. You can find a primary care physician within the metro area that you live in or nearby. The reason France has this high quality, good care of insurance is because it's not tied to your job or lack thereof, and it's not driven by profit. Capitalist societies should not capitalize on people's health, yet that's what we do. Also, the French system focuses on preventative care and quality of life, because they know that preventative care and people having a good quality of life helps them live longer, helps them stay healthier. Bringing this discussion back to our core reasons, we're not waiting for retirement. We want a life where we're not afraid to get sick and lose our house trying to pay the bills. We don't want to live in a society where we're afraid to go to the doctor because we can't really afford it. France offers peace of mind, dignity, and a high level of care. If you're considering moving abroad, this might be one of your reasons too. You deserve health care that works for you and not against you. You deserve health care like us. We all deserve health care that's not meant to be for profit. If this resonated with you, drop a line in the comments below. Tell me if you've had any of these same kinds of experiences with healthcare, either here in the US or whatever country you might live in. I'd love to hear from you. And no, you're not alone. If you haven't already, hit that like button, please. It'll help me in the algorithms. I've got a brand new channel. I would love to grow it and build a broader community. Hit that subscribe button. Follow along as we declutter, dream, and depart, and move toward a healthier, freer future across the pond in France. I'll try for a much more positive video next time. I'll see you soon. I'm trying to put out a video every Wednesday and every Saturday, and I may start going to lives on Saturday if I find that I have enough people interested in doing lives so we can chit chat back and forth. So I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.